Excellent, morning again. So, thank you to Lucky, thank you to Bhavesh. You're going to hear a lot from me today. So, the pressure that I've got is to make it entertaining and informative. And so I'm going to try and do this by giving you some examples of what I think is happening in the real world. And so whilst my job title is Senior Marketing Strategist, which means, yes, I do work in the marketing department, where we paint visions and dreams, but create no software. I'm going to actually use my sessions to illustrate what I think is happening in the banking industry globally, within Africa, and also very specifically with what's happening in Zimbabwe. Now, what gives me the right to come here and stand in front of you today, when my job title says Senior Marketing Strategist, I'm going to tell you how to do your marketing? Absolutely not. The role that I have within MySys is quite interesting because it's fairly new. It was only created last year. And it's really based upon me articulating what I'm seeing as the trends in the market. How can I do that? Until last October, I used to run IDC's Financial Insights division in EMEA. Who is IDC, you may ask? IDC are a very large US provider of research on technology and the way that technology is being used. Why was I qualified to run IDC's Financial Insights practice? I've been an industry analyst for a number of years. The reason is because I used to be one of you. I used to work for one of the UK banks. I used to look after business transformation for Lloyds TSB, now Lloyds Banking Group. One of the things that I ended up doing in my time there was looking after the transformation of the core banking system. I can still smile about it, I don't know how, because that is a huge undertaking in terms of doing open heart surgery, perhaps on a patient that isn't in great health. So I've been around banking technology for many, many years. I began my career, sorry to give you my bio, but I began my career with Vodafone. So I started my professional life in the mobile sector. And one of the things that you cannot fail to notice, and Zimbabwe is no different to more than any other country in the world, is that there is this transformation around digital, which is being heavily influenced by, and if I may borrow your device, sir, the mobile device. Whether it is the smartphone, or indeed in some parts of our society, the more basic sort of featureless phone that many citizens will actually use. So there is this drive around digital transformation. And in Lucky's opening remarks, he used the reference of Kodak. Wasn't Kodak a brilliant example about digital transformation and what happens when you get it massively wrong? So 1976, great year, in a sporting sense, I'm trying to remember. But in 1976, Kodak had a 90% market share of film stock in the US. Every camera you were loading the film had a Kodak little yellow box that you were going to put it in. You fast forward through the 80s, through the 90s, and we get to the 2000s, and Kodak is bankrupt. Kodak enters chapter 11. Kodak hasn't made an operating profit since the first quarter of 2007. It's still trying to hang on in this digital world because it was so terribly slow to transform. It didn't spot the trends. It didn't spot the arrival, the emergence of new technologies. And not just new technologies, it didn't spot the emergence of how us as consumers were going to use these technologies in our daily lives. And I think that Kodak example is an interesting metaphor for what we're going to talk about today in terms of transforming the banking sector through the innovative use of digital products. And forgive me, and you can start to throw things at me, try not to hit me too hard, I've got to get back on a plane, I don't get too bruised. If I start to overstress the digital element, I apologise. But for me, if I look at where the industry is going, we need to embrace digital. But we also must not forget the physical. We mustn't forget the branch network. We mustn't forget the ATM. We mustn't forget the agent network, which is also building up as well. So in these opening remarks, what I'm trying to leave you with is a sense that my comments today will be based on what I would call the real world, where there are governments who are very interested in the stability of their financial system, where there are regulators who will be doing things like Basel II, and then in the future to move to Basel III, and will make your life an absolute misery by making you do lots and lots of things that maybe you don't want to do, but you have to do. And that sucks the money away from the things that you really want to do when it comes to engaging with customers and driving revenue. So, what's the senior marketing strategist actually do? And why can I come here today? Well, as I say, I've been around the banking industry for a while. I've looked after IDC's, financial insights activities in EMEA. I love coming to Africa. Lucky describes my experience at the airport yesterday. Maybe it's cathartic. Perhaps I can talk about it a little more. But yeah, it wasn't a great afternoon, I'll be honest. Having flown for about 20 hours at that point, having gone London, Dubai, Lusaka, Lusaka to Harare, to be suddenly told by a man in the queue that I'd never met before that my parents would be ashamed of me was it's not true. Was something quite hard to take. When I pointed out to him that I thought he was terribly confused, then the argument kind of escalated from there. Maybe in a day or two's time, have a look on YouTube. The footage may have been taken from the security cameras. But the point that I make is a very real one. So having arrived into Zimbabwe, the effusive and very warm welcome that I received from Lucky and from everybody in this room and everybody in the Meekles completely wipes off the record. The less than great example that I had, or experience that I had as a customer, as a new arrival when I reached the airport, and then as Vogue and I can tell you about at length, the interesting experience that we had trying to bring 40 USB sticks into Zimbabwe. Yeah. I won't trouble you over this session, but please, over lunch, if you're interested, I can tell you all about it and what it took Lucky to do in order for me to actually be standing here and not still be standing in the airport having a discussion. So anyway, I get to travel, I get to engage with banks all over the world. So let me just extend my thanks and my welcome to all of you for taking time out of your schedules to come and see us present to you today. So I hope it will be valuable. I'll provide just some market context, some of the things that I'm seeing in the market. We can of course talk about it during the Q&A sessions. If there is something you passionately agree with and would like to make a comment as we're discussing and we're going, please let's not leave it till the end. Let's bring that discussion out now. We've got microphones, I think, around the room. I'd much rather hear from you if you'd like to make a particular point. I have one apology to make. In my haste to get to the airport, I managed to forget my magic clicker, so I will be standing in front of the screen at certain points, just to advance my slides.